Let me just.
You still have me,
I
right?
do. I got you back.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Excellent. I didn't even use the new link, so that's good. Okay, looks like it's firing back up on Facebook. I just got a announcement. Maybe that was it.
all right. Let's hope that doesn't happen again. Let me go fetch the chats. All right. I think we're good. I think we're good. Everybody hear us? Everybody see us? Hope so. So yeah, as we were saying before we were so rudely interrupted. Um, I was going to ask actually the community at large, like what their impressions of what they saw was, aside from that it looks, sort of familiar like some other projects, but I guess sort of a question of like, does that look like a game that you would want to even just play with, even if it's not like, something you're like, oh, I would absolutely play that and love it. Like, does it look like something you would be interested in trying? Um, and then I think my question for, I guess, everybody, but mostly you, Sam, is like, if that was a game that would either offer a partnership or that, as a an organization we were to acquire land for, um, you know, how would how would that work? And how would we sort of move with that?
Yeah, so I think that was some questions that I was actually thinking about. One, first we need to establish, is this a game that the community would want to play? And then the secondary question is, if they do want to play it, would they want to be able to utilize those assets then if from a play to earn aspect? Um, and once we've established that and we've got, a good percentage of the community that shows interest in playing, and we do show that it is viable from for those that are looking to play this, and actually maybe make a living from, playing these games. If that's one that fits in that bucket, that, hey, yeah, this looks like there's potential that we could make a living from this, or make enough of income to supplement at least maybe that, along with maybe an Ember Sword, Planet Quest, some of these other games in there together, provides decent income. Um, you know, Checking off those boxes along the way. One, is it a playable game, something that we enjoy playing, that others going to want to play? Two, is there the earnings potential there? Then we'd want to look at, yeah, what does a partnership look like between us and Illuvium? Is We would have to start that discussion with Illuvium on what their partnership program looks like. Um,
Right.
Again, how we were going back to, this is some of the stuff we talked about, how liking, sharing, and subscribing the videos helps you as an individual play to earn, or as a pro gamer, even if you're just looking to play competitively as tournaments, whatever your aspirations are. The more people that are viewing our channel, the more, easier it is for us to go with leverage then to these potential partners and say, okay, yeah, we'd like a partnership with you guys. Give us some starting assets to share with our community. Because if you think about it, the partnership should it should be a mutually beneficial way, but it's actually a tremendous amount of actually help for the person, or the company that has the gaming project receiving the partnership. They've got a community that has hundreds of thousands of followers on it. Now that's hundreds of thousands of followers that has exposure now to their gaming project. So we're bringing value in that way. And that's how individually you guys help, and then the full circle comes back around to helping you individually, right?
Right.
Because
So
once
if
those
you
partnerships are established and we are able to acquire those assets due to the partnership, now we can lease those out to the individuals.
Yeah, so if you guys help us get this up and running, essentially that gives us the resources to help you. So your like and subscribe is equivalent to slightly increasing the chances of us being able to basically give you Illuvium land to play on. Um,
Yeah, Illuvium
that's
land, Star Atlas ships,
right,
you know, Ember Sword, you know, opportunities, Planet Quest, planets, etc. So all of this is going to be earnings opportunities. The other way that it helps too is we do have investors that are still looking at us. They're evaluating our project. They're seeing our consistency. They're wanting to see that we're going to consistently grow our subscriber base, which gives them something of value to invest in. If we prove that to investors, so when we prove that to the investors, they're going to be more open to you know, give us capital that then we can use to acquire assets. Partnerships aside, until some of these, you know, as the community grows even more and we're able to look more attractive to some of these potential suitors that are looking for partnerships, uh, you know, in the meantime, the intermediary step is some of these smaller to maybe medium sized or even larger investors that come along and give us capital to acquire the assets that then you guys can utilize as well.
right. So essentially, our hope is, we're streaming tonight here, but we'll be back and we'll be streaming hopefully every day um, to try to build up consistency and to sort of revitalize and build the community back up. Get eyes on what we have to say and what we have to share and what we're doing here. And once we have the eyeballs, then we can go to investors and partners and tell them like, hey, look how many eyes we can put on your product. And with that, they can give us the resources to help you guys do what you want to do what you need to do. So,
Yeah, it's this is it's really a you know, in terms of actual pulling dollars of the pockets, it's nearly free to do this. It does take our time, which is time is valuable. So it's our time to do this, and this is our way of actually investing back in you guys into the community. So this is a partnership between, you know, just as much as it is between us and the potential, you know, games and gaming projects out there. It's a partnership that we're creating with you guys as community members. um, you've got to trust and believe in the process, trust and believe in us, and then anything takes time and effort. And the more time and effort that we put into it, it's going to be successful. In anything you do, if you keep doing it, you stay consistent with it, and you don't give up. Those are the main ingredients for being successful at any project or any, you know, business venture or any goal that you have, even in your personal life. Yeah, the main things, the main ingredients is consistency, putting the time and effort into it, and then not giving up. When you meet hurdles or you meet what might be seen as a failure, can't take that as a stopping point. You've got to say, okay, what should we do better? You know, what can we do differently to make this better and continue to push forward?
and really, all of that to say, tell your friends. Um,
Yeah,
you know, uh, get in the comments, tell your friends, all of that stuff.
yeah, you
Um,
guys, you know, we'll have the streaming schedule up there, and just let your friends know when we're going to be streaming and invite them to come.
yeah, come hang out with us. I mean, today and tomorrow we'll largely be talking about projects that we're interested in and that we hope that you're interested in or might become interested in. And but during the week, we'll be playing some of what I hope is your favorite games. And so I understand, and I have it on good faith that this community's favorite game is Albion Online, and I've never played that before, so I'm gonna be wading into that pool a little
Yeah,
later.
that's the one that, you know, people, a lot of people are playing currently. Um,
Hmm.
and there is opportunities there as well for the community to get involved, and opportunities to earn from all different angles. You know, from streaming to to tournaments, etc. Just being active as well. Another game that the community has said that they're very interested in, and this was a few months back that we did this poll, but the number one game that you guys were interested in playing was Star Atlas. And the good news is back then when we were looking at the asset values, the ships were pretty costly. Now some of those ships are very affordable. So when we're talking about getting capital, we don't need a lot of capital to be able to get a lot of ships into your guys' hands. So, but we need to know who that is. We need to know who it is that wants these assets, who wants Illuvium assets, who wants Star Atlas assets. And that doesn't mean sending us a message and saying, yes, I want assets. That means going in and helping us build the community. We see you guys building the community. The people that are building the community, those are the ones that are going to be acquiring the assets first.
Right. So yeah, let's get this joint to jumping. It's really the name of the game, and that's not always an easy thing to do. You know, I know that most Web3 projects Discords really died down in traffic as the market sort of tanked. But um, I have seen I've seen moments, right, where things will kind of stir back up due to engagement, whether that be games or events and announcements in certain discords that will just cause people to sort of stir back up and come out of hibernation. So that's really what we're looking for. Whatever it is that you think would bring you back to a I guess to a server that you had left, let us know what that is, and we'll see what we can do, because we want everyone to be as excited to get back into all of this as we are, and we want to be able to utilize that excitement and that engagement to help all of you. So
Yeah, and in terms of the markets, things are starting to look pretty positive. I mean, we saw Bitcoin come down to a low of around 16,000, and I personally thought that that was the bottom, especially as we came back up to 18,000, and then that second confirmation once we crossed 20,000. Uh, there was a lot of legislative stuff, mostly from the US, that kind of slowed it down a little bit, but I believe that we resumed the bull market. I believe that we are back in the bull market. And some of the most recent events with mainly being BlackRock. I think BlackRock, if you guys don't know who BlackRock is, it's possible you might have just landed on planet Earth. um, but they are the largest asset manager there is. And when BlackRock says that they're going to, with $10 trillion in assets under management, and they're wanting to get an ETF started that an application in with the SEC for Bitcoin. Um, that was big news. And if you guys were following, again, if you're in tune with what's going on, and I think you should be, if you want to be able to, uh, from an investment perspective, or even a you know getting involved in the play to earn space in general, it all kind of ties back to the crypto markets. None of this really would exist if it wasn't for crypto, right? We need the blockchain technology and smart contracts and all that crypto brought us for all of these play to earn projects to even exist at all. So that's where it all started. And the during the boom, the, one of the reasons why a lot of these play to earn projects boomed so much is you had people that bought Bitcoin at $10 a coin, $100 a coin, and they bought 10 or 20 coins, and then when everything booms and Bitcoin's 60,000, all they got to do is sell a couple coins, and then they can go and invest in these projects, in these play to earn projects. So there was so much excess of capital out there then. The COVID stimulus also had to do with it. There was an excess supply of money. What was this? Probably a couple years ago when all this was at its peak, right? And as the crypto markets recover and we get into, that territory again, that excess supply is going to start to come back again, and we're going to start to see dollars rolling back into these projects. So I think this is a great time. It was good to see the correction because it also did take out a lot of the projects that really should have never been there in the first place. So at the end of this, we're going to see the projects that actually do have a real viable product are going to be the ones that are going to make it to the end, and or make it into the next steps of the journey, I should say. With us, no such thing as an end necessarily. Hopefully, these projects continue on forever. The good ones. World of Warcraft has been with us for how many years now, and it's still going strong. So it can't happen. We want to see AAA quality gameplay, stuff that's fun to play, that we enjoy playing as a team, and that we can build together.
Kind of does put me in mind of that thing I was thinking about a few minutes ago before the catastrophic failure. Uh, about sort of that survival of the fittest, that survival of the fittest, and then everything that's sort of, bubbled to the surface and hasn't died is sort of sharing its genetic code, and they're all sort of reading each other's notes. Um, so we are going to see things that have some overarching similarities because they're looking to one another to see what is it that you did that enabled you to survive this, and can I capitalize on that you've done that worked, you know oh I think we might have lost your webcam for a second there.
My webcam.
Yeah, we
Is
got a little
this?
desynced for just a moment. Hang
Okay.
on.
In Streamlabs, I still see myself, but
Whoop. He'll be back in a second, I think. But oh wait, do I still hear you?
hello?
Oh, I
Yes,
do
I'm
still
here.
hear you. Oh, okay. You didn't actually go anywhere. There we go. You're back. So,
Yeah, I think that I'm still here. That's good. Yeah, because I could still see myself in Streamlabs. So
right. A little laggy for a minute there, but nothing to worry about, I don't think. Um, so yeah, what's I think.
So, well, while you're thinking, if you don't mind, let me
No, go
expand
ahead.
on the whole crypto rally thing. So, while that's good news, uh, it also kind of puts a timer on us. So we're racing against the clock, right? How we were talking about, hey, there's some great values in some of these projects that we can get. One of the ones, some of the projects that we think are going to be the top, AAA, the ones that are going to make it, right? They've got some pretty good values in their assets. Maybe Big Time might be one of them. Star Atlas, Ebersword, Planet Quest. Um, we can get these assets are on sale right now, so we can go out and acquire these assets for you guys at some pretty discounted prices. And as this crypto rally continues and we get back up to 60, 70, maybe 100,000, Bitcoin price, that's going to lift all the boats, right? All the other altcoins, and many of those altcoins are associated with the projects that we're looking at, right? Like Star Atlas and Ember Sword and all those, right? Those have their own coin. So those asset values are going to go up along with the virtual assets in the games. The ships, the land, etc. The alluvials. Um, those aren't always going to be on sale like they are right now. So we have a short time window right now. Let's get out. Hopefully, this gets everyone motivated. Um, just I've got 6,000 people on my Facebook, for example. I'm sure you guys have all got maybe even a couple hundred. Imagine if we share these videos. Everybody shares these out with their friends, and they're on their social networks. And if we've got 10 people that all have, let's say, 100 people each, that's 1,000 people now that we've just shared it. And maybe only 10 of those come and join us next time. Well, then the number is going to grow exponentially. And then those 10 people do the same thing. They get excited about what's going on
It's
here, and we
compound
continue to build.
interest, but social
Yeah,
media. We can
yeah,
do this,
social
guys.
compound. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so,
But you have to believe in it, though. I mean,
for
I'd
sure.
love to hear the feedback of who believes in that as a plan, And if you don't, what would be a better strategy? Because I think that's the best strategy out
Yeah,
that
and
we could do
what
that
could
doesn't
we
cost
do
a lot of money.
differently,
Yeah,
that
what could
would bring you on board, really, I think is important. Uh, so I think I've got some idea of how I want to phrase my question. Um, you know, what what does how does I guess our pipeline for producing, you know, media for everyone in the community to engage with, um, what is, you know, what is it that they need to do? Like, what is there for them to interact with? Obviously, we have the live streams themselves. We have, you can go on YouTube or Kick or Facebook or Twitch, and you can watch us live. And you can like and subscribe or whatever through YouTube, or you can follow on Twitch or Kick, or I guess you can like through Facebook or follow the Facebook page. And those are very helpful. And you can share those things, those links with other people. um, but then we'll be seeing things like, the stream VODs, which we can publish through YouTube, maybe shorts and short form videos that we'll produce on the YouTube channel that people can engage with and show to other people. Um, Whatever that stuff is. What do you think is, person who wants to engage with this the most? What is their best course of action to get the most bang for their buck in terms of contributing?
Yeah, and another thing to think about too, in terms of contributing, this position here, streaming, we want to have 24/7 streaming. The streamers that are streaming regularly, that's a paid position. So if somebody has the ability, um, has the right skill set, um, you've got to have clearly understandable English speaking would be a requirement. Got to, of course, enjoy not just one game, but a lot of different types of games, not just play to earn, but we are going to be playing all types of games. And the reason why we don't want to alienate, I keep talking about this because I do get some questions of it. It seems like, people might say, "Oh, why are we playing? Is that game play to earn? Does it have an NFT?" That's kind of the question I get. Or why are we playing this game? Right? There's no, you know, what's, what blockchain is it on? I commonly get. So we need to be
It's
really
on fun.
careful.
That's what it's on.
Yeah. Well, we need to be really careful about only putting ourselves into a very, very small box of play to earn. Right now, it's a very, very small box. It's probably about 1%, maybe 2% of the entire addressable market of gamers out there. Just did some recent research. Last time I looked this number up, it was about a little over 2 billion, like 2.2 billion. It's now over 3 billion people on the planet that play games of some sort, whether that's a game on their PC, whether it's a console game, a mobile game, any type of video games. That's a that is more than 2/3 of the addressable market, or of the people that are basically connected to the internet, over yeah, like 15, 15 years old and up. It's a major part of the population that plays games. And we need to be careful that we don't want to alienate ourselves from bringing that population into our community and slowly educating them to, hey, what is play to earn gaming? Um, so, yeah, that's why we do other games. And other games are fun to play too. I mean, I love playing World of Warcraft. That was a great game. That was probably the best game that I've ever played. EverQuest was a close second, though. Or
Yeah,
Star Atlas, or Star. I'm sorry, Starcraft was a lot of fun. I'm not any good at it because my actions permitted is not anywhere near 350, which you'd need to be able to play at a competitive level.
yeah.
I mean, who can do that? Who can do 350? Anybody here can do that? Cube, maybe you can. I don't know.
Absolutely not. I can't do that. No, I actually. So my
I think you
sort
have to
of
be part machine to be able to do that.
my introduction to gaming was pretty pretty basic. So like um I got into playing video games. I mean, beyond the games that I played when I was like 6 or whatever, which I did enjoy, but they weren't much of anything. But when I was like 12 or so, uh, had my cheesy old like uh, Mac kind of a thing, and sitting there in my room going through the game section of Apple's downloads, like on their website. And I don't know if you remember what that interface was like. Then you're built different. Um, but yeah, and just the games that were advertised there, because I didn't know where to look for games. Like Steam wasn't really a thing then. Like maybe it was, but barely. Um, and I don't remember when Steam was new. I don't remember when YouTube was. Holy shit. But it was right around back when YouTube was new, honestly. And I remember finding these games by this indie studio that were just like sprite based, grid style, turn based combat RPGs, and that was really the thing that got me hooked you know into video games.
Some of the
Later,
first games that I remember playing were a lot of simulation type games like Sim City, um, Railroad Tycoon, Oregon
oh,
Trail.
I had Zoo
eh,
Tycoon as a kid. That man, that was big. That was big for
Yeah,
me.
and a lot of those were on the Mac too, because in schools, that's a lot of the computers that they had were Macs. Um, we did have some PCs too, though. So those guys there's kind of mix of both. It depends on what computer lab you went into.
Yeah, I think the
But
first shooter game I ever played was on my brother's ancient Apple computer, MDK. That was a time. That game was stressful. As kids, like I would operate the mouse and my brother would operate the keyboard controls because there were too many buttons for us to like make sense of. We were so inefficient and we were incredibly bad, but we had a blast. Um,
yeah, I mean, we didn't have a PC at home when I was growing up. When this was like when I was like 8 years old, but I remember, and I don't think this could happen today. I'm sure there's like way too much security and rules and stuff. But I remember either staying really late at school or coming so early in the morning before anyone else was there. And what I would do is, since I'm one of the last ones to leave, or sometimes the last one to leave, is I would just leave like a little tiny rock in the door. And so the door to school would be open. And I knew I was going to be the first one there in the morning. So I'd come there at like, maybe school started at 8 and I'm coming there at like, 6 o'clock in the morning and starting to play games. And it seemed like I was the only weird kid that did stuff like that.
so
Like nobody else
you
was doing
definitely
that.
weren't the only kid who had that thought process because I remember when I was yeah, 11 or 12 around then, my brother and I would get up at 4 in the morning, sneak downstairs, fire up my mom's PC, which had Zoo Tycoon on it, play it for an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. Then we would save, close the application, shut down the computer, unplug it, go back around up the back stairs, get into bed, and then roll out of bed like, oh man, what a glorious night's sleep. And this was our way around our allotted computer time. We had so many hours of what we were allowed to spend playing games, so we would, get a couple extra every morning. That ended one day when we heard someone wake up. Like we heard someone get up upstairs, and we're like panicking. We're like ripping the cord out of the wall. We're like sprinting to the other end of the downstairs, and someone comes down looking for us. Like, what are you doing down here? And we're like, make something up quick. Somehow we managed to get away with it. It was incredible. We still tell that story to this day to them. Like, it's the funniest thing they've ever heard. Like, but oh god, just the heists we
Yeah.
used to pull as children. all in the
And
name of
to
gaming.
be honest, I don't even know if there was a policy against, I there probably was, but I for some reason I was lucky enough that just all the teachers and janitor and staff and everybody, if there was a janitor that was still there late, he just ignored me. Just, oh, that's just a kid playing on the computer, and
Right, it's after
yeah,
school
I
hours.
gotta,
Who cares, you know?
yeah, I remember, like school would close down at like what 3:30, and nobody wanted to stay there. As soon as school's out, it's like they're running out the door, and
Yeah, yeah.
I'm the only weird kid that's just staying there. I'm all by myself. All the lights are turned off, and I'm sitting there playing Sim City or whatever, games that they had. There was even a point where there was text-based role-playing game. I want to say it was Zork or something like that is what it was called, but it was actually pretty popular. This was before actual RPG games existed. This is before even any of the Nintendo stuff. Um, kind of dating myself here, but yeah, that's I remember playing that. That was actually really cool because if a text, I mean, it's like you guys read a book, right? And then you watch a movie, and you're like, well, and the movie is never as good as the book. The reason why is your mind can create a world that is going to be far better than really you can recreate in a movie. Typically, that's the case, anyways. So playing Zork, I just remember because it would describe like you're walking down and you open up a room, and then what do you do? Are you going to do this? You're going to do that? Are you going to fight? Are you going to run? So it's you're in a dark, you can't see anything. Yeah, it was pretty cool. That was a fun game. But yeah, I remember it was sometimes like 6 o'clock at night and still in the school. Nobody's there, and you know, come home. My mom's like, "How come you're home from school so late?"
Oh, I had to stay behind and work on homework
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah, I
things
had
and
to do homework. Yeah.
studying, study lots of
Yep.
studying for
Lots of
exams.
studying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got good grades, so my parents never questioned it.
Oh yeah, I mean like same kind of thing. I mean, I would come home once I was in high school. I would come home and I would probably play Myth 2 from ooh, 3 or so after I got home, maybe 8 something. Went upstairs and played Myth until like 8 or 9. I'd cram in some homework. Who am I kidding? I'd probably play till like 10 or 11, cram in some homework, and go to bed at midnight. You know, they have to get up at 7. Um, and I probably stayed up a good deal later than that, quite a few nights. And then in my sophomore year, somebody cursed me with the knowledge of League of Legends, and it was all over. Sleep was forever damaged. Um, I was so terribly hooked on that game. It's a it's a sickness, but it's certainly popular. That's for sure.
So anyone have any games that they want us to think about for future streams or even talk about today? Any other content or information that's going to be helpful or valuable? Again, go back to the beginning when we were talking about this. The stream is mostly for the community, right? It's mostly to help you guys in, with gaming in general, with competitive gameplay, helping build up our teams so that we can play these games competitively, helping find other people, like someone mentioned, people to play Dota. Uh, you know, we want to put teams together for Albion. Maybe we want to put teams together. Maybe you got to want to put together a team to win the tournament in Albion Online. Um, Maybe you just want to have a team that's ready to hit the ground running for Star Atlas, for Eversword, for Planet Quest, for maybe it's another game that we haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah, I think and even if it's not for one that's currently out, right? Like if we're just somebody who's looking for their game, there are a lot of games that are up and coming that look like they will be really great. And hopefully we'll be going over some of those in the coming weeks and weekends. Um, in case we've found something that you haven't. But if there's something upcoming that you think you want to organize for to sort of jump on it when it launches, um, absolutely, this is the place to do it. There's something really special about a new game, especially something with social aspects like guilds and stuff. If you can get in there at the beginning when it's figuring everything out, and you can, get to the head of the pack, that's something really special. You can really shape the future of that game that way. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking at something that hasn't come out yet, talk about it, bring it up, find people, share that interest, and we'll we'll get something going for that. So I think things have kind of died down a little. Ordinarily, this is where I would say let's um, play games with the chat, or take questions, or go off on tangents and rants and things. I think our audience has I think that a lot of them assumed that things were over
when you went
yeah
offline.
when the feed cut out. Uh, so we're not having a lot of feedback and chatter. I think we still might have one or two. You're still with us, please, indicate signs of life. But otherwise, we might just mention that we're still around. I did apologize for the shutdown, but I didn't mention to people back. Uh, Definitely.
Yeah, I think once it closes, they would have had to reconnect too. So
Just in case anybody's, that pop back in. So mention
I
that.
wonder if we had anybody watching us on Kick. I never did look there.
No, I didn't either.
Let's see. Streaming viewers didn't look like anybody connected to Kick yet. So we
Okay.
definitely need to work on that. Yeah, guys, if there is anybody watching, make sure you
Yeah, give us some love
connect
on Kick.
Kick. Yeah, download the app. It's free. And you don't even need an app. You can looks like you can just connect right through the internet. I mean, it's kick.com. It's easy.
And for those of you who either know him or are curious about the announcement that came out the other day, um, Hopeful will be with us tomorrow, um, discussing whatever it is that we're discussing tomorrow. Um, he's out camping in the wilderness. Um, he was on a mountain when I called him this evening, and he did not, in fact, get eaten by bears, which we thought he might have been. He'll be back, and you'll get to meet him if you haven't met him, and you'll get to see him if you have. Uh, Good old dynamic. So Hopeful and I go way back. We've been doing shows like this together for about a year and a half. So it'll be good stuff. So yeah, I've mentioned to couple of places that we are in fact still online. So I don't know how many people have or haven't noticed that. Um,
Yeah, and Nigel, if you're still around, thank you for the subscribe. Appreciate that.
uh, that'd be me. Um,
Thank you. Okay.
but you're welcome, more than welcome. Um, that's the kind of spirit we want to see, guys. Be like me, subscribe, subscribe to yourself. Um, but yeah, I haven't looked again at Twitch yet to see if we got anyone. Let's see. That's all right though. So we've got another half an hour, or 35 minutes to kill. Um, we could take a look at just trying to blitz through an Illuvium arena run, or could continue talking about the future of N2E, some of the prospects that we're aiming for. As there's no such thing as wasted time here, even if we have no one currently sitting in the audience. Because anything that we want to talk about here, we can always chop up in content.
And Cube, if you're still here, you were talking a little about Big Time. In Big Time, how is the team play there as far as like, groups? Can you do raids? Is there guild versus guild stuff? Is there any PvP, or can a guild work together on, going and doing raids, stuff like that? Maybe Big Time is one of the games we could fire up down the road too. We do have an opportunity to become a partner with Big Time, so it might be something that we do want to look at.
Oh, for sure. Um, One question that I have, like because we this came up a lot while we were setting up the streams things, was the exclusivity of things. Have you ever encountered partnership exclusivity, like agreements and things like that, where like, oh, if you're a partner with us, you can't be a partner with this? Kind of like, um, you know, restaurants that serve Coke versus Pepsi,
Hmm.
they can't do both.
Right.
Have you ever encountered anything like that in this space so far?
Haven't seen any partner mention anything like that yet. Matter of fact, we have talked about that, and they are actually excited to see that we partner with other gaming companies and even intermingling their audiences together. They're not scared. They want to be grouped in with other play turd games and even on the same platform and share the member base with each other. The thinking is, and the logic there is, let's say there's let's use you know, Planet Quest or Star Atlas as an example. Either of those, I think they both have about a couple 100,000 people in their community, so at least in terms of their Discord numbers. And if they were partnered together along with maybe 10 more communities that also have the same size, now you have access to a community that has 2 million people that are interested in playing games. So your odds, sticking together for survival is much better than each of these companies just saying, hey, you know what, I want to be exclusive. I'm going to go alone and I'm not going to, share my audience or have access to anybody else's player base, and we're going to build this on our own. None of them have taken that attitude. They all want to work together and cooperate together.
That's really good because you see a lot of things in the Web 2 space where business practices become very petty and very competitive, um, and it's nice to see that at least some of the at least in the gaming space in Web 3, there's a
Yeah.
little bit more cooperation and a little bit of,
Yep.
more of a we're all going to make it together kind of
Now
mentality.
in Web 2, I don't think we would see any of that stuff happen. I don't think you're going to see, Fortnite, partnering up with League of Legends on the same platform and stuff like that. It just, I don't think you're going to see that type of stuff.
Did we not have arcane characters in Fortnite? Or was that Apex that did that?
don't know.
We had, it was like a hmm, it was like a special, you know, um media, uh like, I don't know how you would say this, but like, um where, because it was a show and it was sort of like a tangential brand of the game, they used that, because Arcane was one of the biggest influxes in League player base in history, in the history of the game. So, I mean, they were okay to do partnerships like that briefly, to really capitalize on success of the show, because like it was undeniably an amazing show. Like, it did a lot for a lot of people. There are a lot of memes out there about how like League of Legends is like, you'll have like the sections of the illustrated horse where it's like a child's drawing, and then it's like slightly better, and then it's just a masterpiece on one end. So, they'll make jokes about how like the gameplay is really bad or something, and then the game is terrible. But then you have like the music studio and the lore department, like the writers, and they're just godlike, you know. And I'm inclined to agree. League of Legends lore is some of the best, like, world building out there in like games, and like World of Warcraft is very well known for their lore, right? And the graphics of the game are not necessarily something that you could look at and be like, oh yeah, I'm blown away.
Right.
But the lore is what a lot of people got really, really like invested in
Yep.
with that.
Yeah,
And
it's the
League of
lore,
Legends
the
game,
gameplay,
the game
the
has nothing to do with the lore. But there's this whole big background lore world associated with the game that, like, the nerds are really into. Like, I mean, I've gone down that rabbit hole, and like as a writer, I'm like, holy shit, this is good. This is really good. If you ever got into Legends of Runeterra, which was the card game, the lore is much more integrated into that game than it is actual Legends proper. But then, you've got Arcane, which is very much a lore kind of a thing in its own drama, just beautifully done. But I think, yeah, we'll want to look into some things that the community is interested in to showcase through the stream. Like, uh, if there's a major Dota tournament, we could certainly do some commentary on that. See, stood. Yeah, that I'm not exactly sure how we would go about that though. Like, we obviously wouldn't be able to stream someone else's stream of the tournament, but I don't know how we would ever get access to broadcasting rights, uh, and like get access to a feed.
right.
All I can think of that we could do is like do a like reaction style of stream, which is, yeah, you know, I have feelings about reaction videos. Um, I have no problem with critique videos, but reaction videos where people just make faces at other people's content, just TikTok, why?
Yeah, we'd want to, have it be something that's informative if we're going to do it. It's, we want to take a
Absolutely.
look at it and have it be, valuable content more than just, yeah.
Let's see. All right. Let's see, what else. What else could we go over? Um,
Well, we have the tournament coming up for Albion, so
right. That's, when do we think, when, what would be a good projection for anyone who was looking to organize a team for, what would be a good,
yeah.
like, expected in a month, 2 months?
Yeah,
Six
I mean,
weeks?
that would be good to get some feedback because we're originally thinking about 6 weeks to prepare for that. So, if Cube, if you're still watching, I know you had some interest in, you're starting to work on some of the PvP in Albion, or anyone else that's watching. How long is it going to take you to get your team members and start practicing, doing some scrimmages, and be ready to compete in an Albion tournament? Is this something that could be feasibly done in 4 weeks, 6 weeks? What are we looking at? That's something we should talk about.
Yeah, for sure. Because like, if on Monday, presumably I pick up Albion Online for the first time, I'm curious. Um, what are the odds that even with like a leveled playing field style, what are the odds that I'll be able to participate as a player in that tournament? Maybe we could do a team broadcaster or team where we just have all of the N2E squad rolled together in one um, very goofy team to carry me. um, I don't know how much I would be able to contribute at that point. Wonder how much I can accomplish in 6 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, we can do custom matches. There is pickup games that you can do too. So if there is only, two people that can play, they can queue up, and then the matchmaking system will automatically find three randoms to throw
Oh,
in
there we go. We'll
with you.
do
And
we'll do a
yeah,
broadcasting squad show match,
and you can
beginning or
do
the end of the
ranked and
tournament.
unranked play. So if we didn't want to hurt our rank, because we would probably be getting our asses handed to us in the beginning.
Absolutely.
Yeah, then we could do an unranked and at least get an idea of the gameplay and see some of the different mechanics and things like that. So,
Sure.
and that's something that you guys could join in too, so that'd be fun, I think.
Yeah. No, it sounds like a good time. Um, for
We'll
sure.
have to get with some of the rest of the team, Modern and Aiden. I don't know if you're still here. Hopefully, Najila is recovering from breaking his legs. Um, so he took a fall and actually broke at least one of his legs, it sounds like. So he's recovering from that, but hopefully he'll get to the point. I don't know how long that takes if something like that happens where you can actually sit up
Ooh.
enough to be able to use a computer again. So I'm sure that that's
Sit
gonna
up,
keep you kind of
probably 6 to 8 weeks. You're looking at
really just
six
to
to
be able
eight
to sit
weeks in
up.
a cast anyway. I mean, for it depends. Okay, so it depends how he broke his leg, right? If he
Yeah,
fractured his ankle, kind of
yeah,
thing, yeah, 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah, I mean, you're a good man. You can sit up in a cast after like a few days. You
yeah,
if you get clean break on your femur, bro,
yeah.
just no. You're gonna be down for a long time. That's
Right.
that's awful. I
Yeah,
hope it wasn't a that's just the
yeah. Me
worst.
too. Me too. Yeah.
God.
Hopefully it's just like an ankle or something like that that can recover a little bit quicker and
I mean,
he
ankles
can
can
get
be
back on the
messy.
PC.
Ankles can absolutely be very messy, but like,
But as far as like being able to function, I mean,
yeah,
Aiden did say he's doing better, so that's encouraging that he's doing better. So hopefully we'll have him back soon. Um,
I hope so.
from the terms of the just knowledge of uh, ways to earn silver inside Albion, which is the main resource that has value, he is probably the best at it. Now, Modern Hero is also very good at doing it and has found a slightly different method that's maybe a little bit more enjoyable because there's ways of basically exploiting the markets. Not sure you're not doing anything wrong in the game by doing that. You're encouraged to be able to trade the markets. You have different cities that have different values of items. That's where Nodula's specialty is. But Modern Heroes found another way where you can go into the black zone. And black zone means it's a zone that you enter And when you first go into a zone, if you're in a yellow zone or a red zone, you'll see an indicator at the bottom that tells you how many other hostile players there are in that zone. So if you go in there and there's only one or two, you're not, okay, probably chances are I may or may not run into. If I do, I'm going to probably be able to get away or maybe battle and survive. But if you see there's like 10, like, okay, this is probably not a zone that I want to go into. Black zone is that's exactly what the word means, is you're dark. You don't see. Nobody knows who's in there that's hostile. So there might be someone in there, there might not be when you go into that zone. And then inside the zone, there's this area called a mist
Hmm.
that you can go into. And when you go into the mist, you can have one or two people enter, but also at the same time, one or two people can enter from basically another direction. So you could encounter, another one or two people inside there that may or may not be hostile. So, and while you're in there, you're trying to get the loot and get and if you can freely collect all the loot that's in there, it's higher value, and you can earn at fairly high rate per hour by grinding in those myths. Today, Modern was doing the myths with Jader, and they were going in together. And I think they only a couple times encountered other situations where they could have been in a PvP situation, or if they chose to run, they could do that too.
Right. So uh, to pivot completely, I'm curious since we got 20 minutes, and I will absolutely want to do an entire episode and segment on this another day. But I'm curious, what do you know about uh, the much beloved in some circles anyway, Dark and Darker? Are you familiar with that at all?
No, I'm not familiar with it.
Ah, so Dark and
No.
Darker is the brainchild of um, Iron Mace Games, and Iron Mace Games is a studio that formed um, in the wake of a large employee exodus from Nexon. And so right now, Dark and Darker is undergoing some litigations. Nexon has decided that they want to crush Iron Mace Games because they don't they don't want them to walk away with something that looks oddly similar to one of their old projects that they shit canned, that
So
the
they maybe
team
took
has
some
gone to
intellectual property.
create. So
Sounds
yeah,
like.
so they're claiming intellectual property rights, and Iron Mace is calling bullshit. Um, it's unclear which way this is going to go, but what is undeniable is that the game is fire. It's so good. It is a
Wow.
medieval style Tarkov, some would say. I've never played Tarkov, so I just have to take everyone's word for it. But basically, the atmosphere of that game is something that takes me back to being like a 12-year-old kid playing, sort of a Dungeons and Dragons theme game, first time ever. You know,
Oh, wow.
it's
That sounds very
incredible.
interesting.
It is
Yeah.
first person medieval combat in a dungeon with parties of up to three. You can be a wizard, you could be a cleric, a barbarian, a rogue, ranger, a fighter.
Wow.
Bard has come out, and Warlock is coming out, and you're in this underground dungeon or an above ground one in some cases. Um,
Parties of
you know,
three. That's interesting.
yep, looting treasure chests and fighting skeletons that do an incredible amount of damage. You're incredibly squishy in this game. It's like
Hmm.
Dark Souls in terms of punishing. Um, and it's a loot and extract. So if you die in there, you lose all the stuff you bring in. And oh, it's fun. It's so much fun. And they plan to introduce guilds eventually. But it is also just a team game by nature. So I
Do you
think
know
that
what
might be
engine they
something.
use
They
for
are
graphics?
using Unreal, I believe.
Oh, cool.
Pretty
Wow.
sure they are.
So it's gonna
Yes,
look
no,
pretty
no, I
good.
know for a fact that they're using it. It is if you ever go in the Dark and Darker Discord server, you're gonna see an endless stream of people crying for early access because early access has been delayed by the court case.
Hmm.
So it's just everyone is up in arms, desperate for this game. But I think that might be a kind of a fun thing to do. Maybe you could have, maybe we could do like a tournament some time later, um, when and if people feel like they want to get the game. Anyone who already has it, because I think it will be a game that you have to buy. Um, it's not a free to play model. Uh, but anyone who has it, it would be cool to run, some sort of a friendly tournament, like whoever can get the most gold or whatever, some number, something like that could be fun.
Yeah,
And if
yeah.
not,
So,
it's just some of the most fun gameplay to watch.
so let's say if they lose the litigation, then does that mean that the game comes back to the original company and they continue to
I
move forward with it, or does it
don't
just die?
I don't believe that either of those are left. So
Okay.
I don't think that. I mean, even if Nexon was to win, what Nexon is actually pressing for is, we want to kill your business, and we want to, make you cease and desist and never see the light of day, something like that.
Hmm.
No court is going to rule in favor of like essentially destroying a business's livelihood, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Especially
because
not
it
in the
affects
U.S.
so many people's jobs and all that. It's just, yeah, it's gonna
Right.
be
So
disastrous.
what would
Yeah.
happen more than likely is that a fine would be paid, or it would be sort of mandated that it's licensed through Nexon. That's my
Hmm.
understanding anyway.
Right.
Now,
Right.
currently, I know that there's been a motion to dismiss the case from U.S. court, and since it's also parallel in Korean court, which Nexon wants to do because double the court fees, double the punishment. Um,
Hmm.
so there's been a motion to dismiss it from U.S. court, and if it were dismissed from U.S. court, it would, in theory, it would sort of nullify the DMCA on Steam, which would, one would guess, allow for an early access to be published on Steam, which
Right.
would be huge in terms of funding the legal fees and all that, and it would also make everyone very happy
Did you apply
because
for early access already?
I have played two of the playtests. No, I actually played three of the playtests. Who am I kidding? Um, so they did this thing where they had an alpha, and it was public on Steam for anyone who applied, and then they ran five playtests where they would have the game open for 5 to 7 days, and they would get playtests of 100,000 people. Lots and lots of YouTube and Twitch traffic for the game, and there's still a lot of YouTube traffic. Well, not Twitch traffic, but a lot of YouTube traffic still going on, related to Dark and Dark, because now the court case is everyone's, reason to become an internet lawyer. So yeah, there's lots and lots of drama around this game. I would absolutely recommend, take a look at some gameplay from that sometime. When early access comes out, Max and I will be, you know neck deep in that, absolutely. So we'll certainly have a day or two of, us raging horribly. Hey, what's up, Freeman? Glad you can make it. Look at you and your pretty graphics. Yeah, no, they set me up with all of these lovely overlay pieces to work with and everything. I didn't have to make them this time, which was, very appreciated. Good to see you. Y'all finish your episode of Outlander. I see. Are they still? Are they still saved a few days? It absolutely did. They're still making more of that show. I thought it would be over by now. I know that there are like 7 books, but oh my god. Yeah, I mean, that show, it do be like that. Last season, gotcha. I should probably read books someday. They're very guarded.
Outlander, I've never watched it. Is that worth watching?
Um, Depends what you're into. I think. It's so
Sci-fi mostly,
if you're
science.
into burly and shiny Scottish men, definitely you'll be all about it. Um, yeah, as he put it,
Okay,
it's worth
okay,
watching with your wife or girlfriend.
I see the benefit of it.
Yeah, it is definitely like that. The books are similar. They're definitely more appealing to a female audience for sure. But it's about as I understand it, a nurse who travels back in time through the Standing Stones and
Oh, that's right.
finds
I
herself
remember
in
seeing this.
like what is it, 16th, 17th century Scotland, something like that, and yeah, drama ensues. Um, you know, it's I've heard it's very good, and that the writing of the book is. What are they
So
doing in the
what
American Revolution? You know what? No spoilers. Um, but
American Revolution? Wow.
in Scotland they moved. Why do they do that? Oh boy. But
So is back to Albion. What
yeah,
about the idea of? I wonder if this would be good for people watching, especially people that have never seen Albion or maybe want to get involved and maybe start playing and you know get a spot where they can start earning by participating in an Albion. Um, would it be helpful? Is there enough content out there that shows how to's of like, hey, I'm day one starting, what do I do? Going through the tutorial and then the next few steps, how to level up, how to power up, what's important,
how
what's
to
not important.
start as a power gamer. I think
Yeah.
that is going to be something that a lot of people, particularly who are, coming into N2E, who want to get
Mhm.
into what we're all doing, are going to be like, how
Right.
can I start and like, you know, get to where I want to go quickly and efficiently? So like,
Right.
I think that'll be what a lot of people want to know. And so I'm going to be starting playing this game for the first time soon. And so I'm probably going to be blundering through and asking like, what should I do versus what do I see as like the obvious choice, so I'll
Right.
want to have, you guys hanging around, presumably, in chat, stopping me from finding all of the pitfalls at once. And hopefully as we go through there, we'll be able to document some of that stuff and create some content that will help those who have yet to come. I think that's sort of the hope there. Should be a little easier though, because Hopeful's actually played a little bit. He should at least be able to get.
Right. Yeah, and yeah, people like Modern, you could probably sync up with them. They could help. Who else has played? Saunders played as well. As soon as he comes back, he could help. Of course, Aiden, uh, uh,
So,
Jader, Bellatrix, AoE Max. All those guys are really good at the game.
so Freeman, to answer your question, Illuvium is open to those who have a beta key. So I can play it because I signed up and was lucky enough to get selected. Um, I'm I would guess that if you submit your email address and you have an account and like request a beta key, might get one. I'm not sure if there was like a closed period of time where they were accepting them and they chose who they'll choose. But you might as well go check it out and see if there's something there. Because when this is over, we'll probably release the vods on YouTube, and you can go and scrub through the video and find some of the gameplay and that I did. And we'll absolutely revisit Illuvium again later as engagement ramps up and we a slightly larger audience take another look. but yeah, I hope that answers some of your question. It's accessible.
Um, any idea when it goes beyond beta to kind of more open beta? I guess it's going to be the next step where
So I
a lot of these
don't
games.
know off the top of my head. If I were to say scroll on into
I mean, it
Illuvium
looks
server
pretty
right now,
polished and pretty complete. I wouldn't think this would take years.
it it does. It looks really good, but the thing is that Brightland Steps, Crimson Waste, and Abyssal Basin are the three currently open areas. Crimson Waste is getting redone to bring it up to standard. They're still tweaking things with Brightland Steps and Abyssal Basin. Um, and then they have three more areas to release. I know that they have done quite a lot of work on their like snow and ice level. I've seen some videos of that, and oh boy, it's cool, guys. It looks really cool. There's a video actually that they released in their leaks channel over in the Illuvium server on the 15th of June. I highly recommend that you go over there, scroll up in the leaks channel a little bit, and click play. That looks cool. Um, but yeah, they're releasing stuff in that leaks channel every day that'll show you like what they're working on week in and week out. Um, I don't necessarily see anything that indicates when. Oh my god, they have nearly 400,000 people on their Twitter. My god. Anyway, announcements. That's just about the GameStop promo. They got a partnership with GameStop. Uh, yeah, I don't see anything off the top of my head, or just like from a brief glance that tells me much about when we'll see. But I know people will definitely that. I imagine once they have another one or two areas of build, that just begins.
Yeah, we were talking about Gods Unchained earlier. Yeah, it's amazing to see. I remember when this project was very small, and then getting onto Epic Games and the value of their tokens actually gone up. So once that being added to Epic Games, so yeah, it's nice to see the project
As
doing
you
well.
mentioned, God's token kicking. We're at 1724. It's better. I'm glad to see it that it's better. It's no $10 gods, but it's better than 10 cents by a long shot. Happy to see that. So we're petering out here. We got 3 minutes left of our time slot, so it's time to say goodbye, more or less. I know that it's it may seem like an insignificant and slow start um, on just this random Saturday in June, but believe me when I say this is the start of bigger things. So be here tomorrow and be here Monday and Tuesday because it's about to get crazy, guys. We're gonna be doing quite a lot, and it'll only be getting bigger. So gotta hit that like and subscribe and follow and all of that jazz, and share and tell your friends and all that stuff. Um, so just in case anyone is unaware, you are on one particular platform. We have yeah, hold on to your butts. We we are currently on Twitch. Facebook, YouTube, and Kick. The links for those things can presumably be found on any one of them to find the others. Um, we also have a Twitter and Discord and Instagram, and engage with any and all of those things, because the more that you do, the more these things spread around, the more people come in, the more engagement we get with N2E, and the more that enables us to leverage those metrics for partnerships to have access to things like Illuvium, Star Atlas ships, and things that you guys want to check out. So be sure to click those buttons, make it happen. And yeah, I think, Sam, anything else you want to say before we sign off?
No, yeah, I think that's good. Just watch for the stream schedule coming up, and again, like you said, you make sure we participate, like, share, and subscribe with your friends. The more we grow, the more it's going to help you individually.
All right. And with that, our time has come. We shall see you another day.